I'm going to go with I love the movie Cry Baby. I will watch that movie till the day I die.
Cry Baby's a great fucking movie.
It is one of my favorite.
Real great movie.
I saw it at 13. I have now that because I play roller derby, I have friends running the gambit of 25 to 55, 60 who are all derby players. So I have
who could all kick the shit out of me. I'm well aware of this.
They're so wonderful, but they're also kids like young millennials who had never seen The Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, Cry Baby. And I introduced them to those movies, and they're like, these movies are phenomenal. I'm like, yes, they are. It has not, they have staying power.
Yeah, they certainly do. And there's, Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz is pretty damn close to a perfect film. I know it's textbook on how not to make a film, but not Wizard of Oz, but Apocalypse Now. Apocalypse Now is absolutely the textbook on how not to make a film. You literally filmed. I'm sorry, I'm coughing when not using my mute button. Literally filmed your lead actor suffering a nervous breakdown and a heart attack and used it in the final production. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to prevent him from having an alcoholic and drug addicted nervous breakdown and heart attack after his wife has called him on set and told him that she's divorcing him. But man, everybody knows that scene where Willard punches the mirror and freaks out and he's spilling the Jack Daniels over the place and doing the Tai Chi. Everybody knows that fucking scene.
So what you're saying is that you're not supposed to do that, which I guess that explains why I got kicked out of film school.
Yes, exactly. You're not supposed to do that. Just like John Frankenheimer wasn't almost supposed to kill fucking Roy Scheider on the set of Sorcerer when there was an actual river washing the actual bridge that they were driving an actual truck over.
What's his face? Oh my God. Aragorn, Lord of the Rings.
Okay, dodging the actual axe?
Or when he actually broke his toe when he kicked the helmet. And
that's right. And he's like, use it.
They used it.
Yeah. There's, if you guys have never seen Sorcerer, and I believe it's available on Amazon Prime. And you know what? I'll give you guys the access to my account just so you can watch it. Sorcerer is the film with Roy Scheider. It's a remake of a movie called The Wages of Fear. And it's about 4 ne'er-do-wells who are stuck in a South American hellhole, and they're hired by a company to drive a truck loaded with nitroglycerin sweating dynamite through the jungle to blow up an oil well, an oil fire that's caught. So the company says, you guys do this and, we'll give you, new identities and new papers to get the fuck out of the country. Huh. And it's an incredible, incredible film. I said Frankenheimer. I'm sorry, William Friedkin, who directed The Exorcist, of course. So the movie's unbelievable. And it came out in the summer of 1977.
Oh, that was a good year.
You know what other movie came out in the summer of 1977?
That's a little film called Star Wars?
Yes.
A New Hope?
Yes. So that's one of the reasons that Sorcerer got buried and William Friedkin fucking hates George Lucas and Star Wars.
Oh, that sucks.
But I'll try to get to it tonight, but I will send you guys a link to it. You got to see it. It's one of Scheider's best performances. It's him coming right off of Jaws,
which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Another perfect film.
That is the movie that I tell people less is more. And if you don't believe me, watch Jaws.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Alien's another classic example of that, Brian, and another perfect film as far as I'm concerned.
I've never seen Aliens until Brian and I started dating, and he was like, you're going to sit down and I'm going to Clockwork Orange your eyeballs.
Yeah.
So you can watch this, and I watched this going, how did I not? And all these people were in Near Dark. He's like, only you would say those actors were in Near Dark, as opposed to seeing Near Dark later and being like, oh,
that's funny. But like Alien is such a perfect film. You know, I say this all the time. I've definitely said it on the podcast before, because it's like, 2001 is the first time we saw people working in space, presented realistically, like it was believable. And then Star Wars is the first time you see space that looked like it was being lived in. Alien is the first time you see working class people in space. And who is the real monster? The corporation.
Weyland Yutani.
Yeah. It's all about how, the company, whatever it is, the fucking mining agency, they use people up and they spit them out all for profit. And that's like what she says to Burke and Aliens. You don't see them screwing over themselves for a profit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And all that is like, that's been kind of Cameron's thing as well. 'Cause him having that in Aliens, that was always kind of his bag too. A lot of his movies were, rich people screwing over working class people.
Yeah, and now he's one of those rich people that does that routinely to working class
God.
he's I mean, Cameron's made some amazing films, but he's a fucking monster. And
he's a total piece of garbage.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, he did make some amazing films, but then he made Avatar, and that was straight up.
Yeah.
I still will never understand this, but we're so far off of the Mandalorian right now.
Yes, we are. I was going to say, you know what? Okay, we've been talking for so long, and we should do maybe we'll do an after the New Year's, we'll do a whole Mandalorian special episode. But let's take a quick break, because we've been going for like 40 minutes, and I told you guys I try and keep the episodes around an hour or so, and I want to keep recording time under an hour and a half. Because I don't know what I don't know how long you guys can jabber for, so I know that you may
till about 7:30.
Till about 7:30. All right, so that gives us a half an hour. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a break here, and then we're going to do 15 minutes on I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday, featuring me and Cat's former
best friend,
college classmate, Mr. Damien Maffei. We'll do an entire episode about Damien in the future, and we'll have other guests on it for that.
I'm sure he'll love it. Make sure you send him a link to it.
Well, you know what, Damien long ago unfriended me, and we have, I believe, interacted twice on Twitter in several years. He owes me, he owes me a lot. But
just put it on a DVD and mail it to his house.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to take the break now, and we're going
to take 5, and we'll be right back with the literate revisit of Mike Lombardo's "I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday" on the Literate Nerds. Nerds. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We are the Literate Nerds. I'm here with my guests, Cat and Brian.
Hey.
And now we are going to do the literate revisit segment of the show, and we're going to be talking about Mike Lombardo's "I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday," which is a 70-minute post-apocalyptic horror thriller about a mother and her son trapped in a shelter after an undescribed apocalypse has happened, and to keep some kind of semblance of normalcy after her husband has gone out to find food, she is marking off the days on the calendar to Christmas for her son Riley. And yes, this movie is as grim as it sounds. Lombardo is a good friend of mine, and I met Mike through through my friendship with the Lansdales. Of course, I became friends with Brian Keene, and that's how we got to know Mike Lombardo. And Michael is kind of like Brian Keene's adopted son, and has been doing these wonderful little trashy comedy horror shorts under the banner of Real Splatter in Lancaster, PA for, going on 2 decades now. God bless him. He's a true monster kid. And this is kind of a labor of love that he did because Brian and some other people had read the short story that he wrote that the film is based on, his own short story, which he wrote when his mother was ill. And luckily, Michael's mother has made a full recovery, God bless her. But she was in really dire straits. It did not look like she was going to make it. And she managed to pull through. But during that time, Mike wrote the short story, I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday. And then, friends of his in the horror community and were like, Mike, you're making all these short films and stuff. So why don't we just kind of try and get it done? And Brian Keene was like, I'll executive produce. So I forget the exact numbers. I think Keene came up with like 10 grand initially for Mike to run around with stuff, run around and do stuff. But as far as I know, the entire cast donated their time mostly, or were paid very, very small stipends. The camera and lighting and sound crew, also donated God knows how many hours of work. And Michael himself, sound edited it, color edited it. It took basically 2 years of his life. After principal filming was done to put it together. And for a film that, he lists the budget at like $80,000, but that's like $80,000 if he actually fucking paid everybody. Considering what he put together for that amount of money, I think it's a pretty impressive piece of filmmaking. And I know it is a slow burn. But tell me, give me your first thoughts on it. And don't worry about spoilers. All right. We'll right off the bat. Yes. Santa Claus fucking strangles Riley Ank to death because he's the last little boy on earth that believes in him, and he cannot die until Riley has died. And he's been wandering the fucking nuclear wasteland until Riley, until they write the letter, and Riley's mother, burns it with the candle, and then the letter goes up into the heavens, and Santa Claus gets the message. And that was cool how he got the message. That was actually, I like the way that opened. That was a pretty awesome effect. I like that. Yeah, and they, like I said, that the day they shot that scene, it was with the wind chill, it was 120 degrees below. I mean, it was 120. I was 20 degrees below zero. In the middle of fucking like all of that stuff is all, like you said, Brian, when we were talking about it yesterday, that you knew it was Pennsylvania. It's all in and around Lancaster. Yeah. I think when Hope is the actress's name, when she first walks out of the shelter in the dream sequence, and there's just that blasted wasteland, that's just that featureless wasteland. I think that's an old strip mine in Lancaster that they filmed at. There's so many great places in Pennsylvania that were once great and now are terrifying and are made to go horror sets. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something right now. Me and my friend Nolan Collins, who is a filmmaker, comic book artist, and a gunsmith who lives in Sheboygan. Someone actually lives in Sheboygan. Yeah. Well, he's from the D. He's a downstate Michigander originally. Mm-hmm. But I forget exactly why he and his wife moved up there, but they're up there. He's got like, just beautiful piece of property. And but we were talking about trying to make a film. This is going on almost a decade ago. We had initially thought about it, trying to make a film in Braddock, Pennsylvania, which is where the current lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania, John Fetterman, is from, in the city that he was the mayor of. And he's the guy, I don't know if you've seen him in recent news, right? Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman. He's the a guest on a podcast I listened to called The Daily Zeitgeist, said he looks like the guy that murdered a corrections officer and stole his uniform to escape from prison. He's like 6'8", but he went to Harvard, and he basically became the mayor of the poorest city